Hey guys, welcome to the Wingin It Podcast. Whether you're stuck at home or hard at work, this is the all-inclusive podcast covering anything from gaming to real-world drama. If you would like to catch up on previous episodes or get sneak peeks into future podcasts, find us on Facebook or YouTube. Just search for the Wingin It Podcast. Sit back and enjoy. Hello everybody, welcome to the Wingin It Podcast, episode number 4. Thank you so much to everyone that watched the last podcast. We managed to gain a fair bit of viewers on the last one, so I am very thankful for that. If you haven't seen the last podcast, go and check it out on Facebook or YouTube. I'll leave links in the description if you want to go down and check it out. We talk about some very interesting things. So continuing on from the last podcast, I have the same group of people in, so we've got some more people to talk to. Without further ado, I'll jump back into the chat and we will get into it. So if I can pick the right one, there we go. Alright. Alright, we're back here, the Wingin It Podcast, episode number 4. Welcome everybody back. Another episode. Looking back at the last episode, I didn't actually introduce anyone.
No, you didn't. You introduced Zave, I think.
That's why I said you're going to introduce.
I don't remember getting introduced, but
yeah.
I introduced it. I joined halfway through, like a fucking idiot.
All it was Dane saying he was the alcoholic of the group, and that was it.
Yeah.
That is still true.
So what you guys can see on the screen right now, I had a message about it. The boxes that you see on screen, the different coloured boxes, are the different people. So you can see mine up the top right. When my box has a green square around it, that means I'm talking. So you can see who's talking, as they speak, I guess. So do you want to, I don't know, go around and actually introduce ourselves so people know who we are?
Yeah. Good idea. I did actually open.
Don't all speak at once.
Well, I'm
yeah, I was figuring
successful.
something out. I was trying to open it so I had the squares on my screen so I could actually see who the fuck what was going on.
Alright, so Dane, you introduced yourself last time. Do you want to go again?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Apart from my name being Dane, there's not much else to add except, I just like alcohol a lot.
Nice. Good. Nev?
everyone calls me Nev, but my real name is Xavier.
I don't actually know why how do we come to your nickname?
It's his old
Because
man's
it's my dad's name.
Yeah.
Of course.
Although actually,
It was like Louis or Harry who gave it to you, wasn't it?
No, it was Seth.
Yeah.
Isn't it your dad's name as like nickname though as well?
Wait, what?
Isn't
Like,
your
yeah,
dad's
your
dad's
grandpa.
nickname as well?
My dad's dad. You mean my
Wait.
granddad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dad's dad.
No, my
Well, it's
No.
your dad's dad. Okay.
no, I don't have a granddad named Neville.
So that's Nev.
Oh.
Kyle.
I am Kyle. I am the hottie of the group.
Oh Jesus!
You rate yourself, Joe.
Man's on the biggest dry spell known to man, and that's what he opens with.
Yeah, but it's because of self-choice.
Okay.
Says a man that paid $10 to kiss a woman.
I did not fucking do that.
Oh, that's a good story to start with.
Also not an accurate story.
So
Anything else, Kyle?
Look, none of the best stories aren't accurate, Kyle. They're just good stories.
Kind of embellish.
Dog. How do we actually get your nickname, Dog? What?
Oh, I don't know if it's a PG story.
That happened. It happened in primary school, didn't it? It happened in
Nah,
primary.
it happened in 7th grade, and
Oh,
I think
okay.
there was 2 reasons behind it. But I'll have to leave that one for
That's for
imagination
another
now.
podcast, I think.
Yeah,
Did you fuck a dog or something?
yeah,
That's horrible.
it's fucking wild like doggy style, I guess.
Excellent. And Chris.
Yeah, I'm Chris. I don't really have any fun facts. Just
Nice.
I'm Chris.
So I think it's important to mention that all of us sort of grew up together. We all went to school
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
That's
Same
it.
class.
That's how we all know each other. Yeah, same classes and all went through the fucking torture that was high
The
school
system.
together. The system. Yep. Working for the man. So this podcast, we are gonna continue on from last podcast.
We're gonna wee.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna continue on from last podcast, continuing on the paranormal sort of topic. There's still some things that I want to talk about. I've done a little bit of research in between then and now, so I know a little bit, I guess. So last podcast, Dane, you were talking about the evidence and how like you were saying that you weren't sure what it would take to make you believe because
Yeah.
you
I
you're
think
a non-believer.
I don't know. I don't know if even actually experiencing something would be enough to make me believe
I
because
agree with that. Yeah.
the human brain's so fucky.
But I mean,
Well, take
it's-
like a good point on like that the human brain being fucky is it take like what Croaky said right about
Yeah.
his sleep deprivation training.
Well,
So he
for
stayed awake for
context,
what was
we're
it?
talking about someone who currently works in the army.
Yeah,
He's a
because
soldier.
of doing sleep deprivation training. And what he had to stay awake for was it 3 days?
Yeah. No, he had little bits of
But
sleep,
that's,
but not
as
much.
in like a half-hour stint for every 12 hours or something, like not
Yeah.
enough to keep you sane.
No.
Yeah.
And even he, by the end of it, he had an argument with a shovel. He thought a shovel was hitting on his misso. Note,
That's
he
awesome.
was single. He was single as well.
That's awesome.
So that goes to the whole like brain being fucky thing. Your brain makes shit up, and it does. You know.
And then, well, even what if hundreds of people see it, but we also have documented cases of mass hysteria.
Yeah.
So it's what what would it take to actually prove something's correct? I guess you'd have to have some sort of measurable scale.
I think
Well,
scientific is where I always go.
Well, yeah,
in
the
terms of, like,
scientific method's
yeah.
pretty solid.
But I mean, documentation is always, I mean, it's the key really when you're talking about finding evidence. But even still, there's always going to be skeptics that say, the video's been tampered with or, something like that.
It's hard with this topic, but I think for me, repeatability is key.
Yeah.
Like if you can repeat something or even predict, if you can predict something, then that adds a lot to the validity of it.
But I mean, prediction, but then, anyone that knows a little bit about the whole paranormal thing and is right into it can argue that, repeatability can't always be relied on because, there's this whole idea that, spirits use energy, and when there's not enough energy, they can't manifest in noises and, all the rest of it. So if they can't repeat themselves, then they can just argue the point, oh, well, they don't have enough energy to manifest, or even
Yeah.
like the time of the day affects.
So that's
that
a
sort of
very easy cop out to me. Like judging from like a position of being a skeptic and not believing it. If someone said that to me, I'd be like, that's just an easy cop out. Like, you've just looked for a way out of the argument of the point that I made and just said, oh, they have no energy. It's like it's not an actual point. It's more of a you have nothing else to say, so you may as well say they're out of energy. Sure, you could be right. By all means, you could be correct. But
I mean,
it's
how can
it's
we
not
prove
really
that though?
eventually scientific methods will come about of actually trying to prove whether ghosts are. Even now, there's probably research going into ghosts. I wouldn't have an actual clue, but the only things out there that do like point to the existence of ghosts are things that blokes made in the shed.
So that's interesting you say that. I was just about to say, for anyone that used to have like a Xbox 360, I'm sure all of us had one with Kinect, playing the, heaps of Kinect games. They quickly realized that it was mapping, so it maps your thermal heat or thermal energy. So when you stand in front of it, it maps your thermal image. So obviously your body gives off heat in terms of thermal waves. So the Kinect camera can see that, it maps it out, and very quickly people were starting to see things mapping next to them that there was obviously no people there or whatever. So there's this belief that spirits, when they manifest, they give off heat and even cold signatures. So this Kinect camera was mapping spirits, I guess. So people have made these rigs that they have a Kinect on the front, hooked up to like an iPad or a little like a little computer, and when you walk around a dark house, if it maps something, it's believed to be a spirit manifesting in front of you. So I don't know how much truth there is to that. I never had a Kinect. I never played with one, but do you think that that's reliable?
I just don't. I don't
I
see the
think it's a
reliability in
bit
it.
of a logical leap. We've come across something that we can't explain. And
Is it
then
possible
to
that
just-
it's just picking up on because it's a thermal tracker, yeah?
Yeah.
Because there's different temperatures in the air around us, so maybe it was just sensitive to a
No,
patch of
airflows though.
hot air. Yeah, but
Airflows.
that's what I'm saying. Like maybe it just picked it up for like a second.
Yes, hot air. Sit in that corner for me for a second.
No. But did Latch ever say that it was just like a sitting thing?
But
He
there's
just said that it picked it up.
see there's heaps of videos on it though that it actually maps out, because they video when people are walking in front of it, like actual people, it maps out your arms and legs moving. It knows where your arms and legs are. So even if someone's sitting down, you can see the figure on the screen physically, sitting down. It maps your body really well. So when you
Yeah.
see something that's floating in the air, or even like a smaller person, like it maps the difference. So for it to be like the right size and to map like a human skeleton correctly, like I don't know, I don't know if I believe it, but I think it's certainly something that's interesting that they managed to pull up.
I'd say to me, it's the same difference as someone taking a video of a UFO. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, I just don't think it's real.
See,
Why? Why don't you think it's real?
Well, I think it's real because it's just it just sounds like a total load of bullshit.
Why? Why does it sound like a load of bullshit?
Well, what's believable? I'll propose a question. Try, I don't really have much of a case of why I think it's believable. Why do you think it's real? If, what makes it real?
Well,
I think
I'm not-
what they're showing you.
I'm not necessarily looking at it like trying to disprove it. I'm looking at it trying to see what makes it real. And just because there's a little ball of red in the corner makes it a ghost.
But if I show you an apple and take a photo and send that picture of an apple to you, is it there? Or is it fake because you think
If
I'm
you were
showing
holding an apple that I could
Yeah, but-
touch, if you held that apple in your hand and took a photo of it and didn't move, and I come and I grab that apple, yes, it'd be real because it's
No,
there,
but
it's
I'm
tangible, I
holding
can
this
touch
apple.
it.
I'm sending you a photo of this apple. Does that make it any less of an apple?
No,
No.
but you're not trying to.
Yeah.
But can you
gain
walk up to
No.
a ghost and can you
The
walk up to a
difference
ghost
is
and grab the
nobody-
ghost and say, "Stay there, ghost"?
Nobody
Dog.
doubts the existence of apples, though. That's the difference.
and also the key thing is
Well,
he's
actually,
sending a
actually.
clear photo of an apple as opposed to just some bit of heat.
Yeah.
For me, the key thing is we've seen something, we don't know what it is, and for some reason we jump straight to ghosts or aliens if it's a like UFOs, unidentified flying object. And there are many legitimate videos of UFOs that we don't know what the fuck they are, but that doesn't mean they're aliens either. I think to jump straight to it's definitely a ghost is a bit of a stretch.
But I
It's just there's
think-
nothing tangible there. Like there's not you got a video of a red person or it's just a little thermal image of a human being, right?
Yeah.
What's to say that they just didn't have old mate go stand in the corner and pretend to be a human for 5
Okay,
seconds?
I'll counter that question. Okay, so I'm walking through a supermarket. I'm doing my shopping.
Yep.
I see this really attractive girl, and I tell her to stop. Can I have a photo with you? I take the photo. I show you guys. Like, look, it's really cool girl.
Yeah.
And you guys are like, she's fake. What are you talking about? But I can never replicate that again because I'm never going to see her again. So does that make that girl real or not?
that's an interesting point.
No, but
And
once
then you
again,
guys are saying-
you're taking a photo of a human being that we
A
can
real
all recognize is a human being.
Yeah, I
as
could
opposed to,
potentially see her on the street.
But what
a
makes
group
it
of-
real
no.
compared to fake if I can't
Well-
replicate it?
Well, we're not saying it's fake. And first of all, for this whole conversation, we're assuming the instruments are reliable.
Well,
But, okay, you
let's
show
assume
me-
that they are
yeah.
reliable.
Exactly. You show me a image of some unknown heat source from a reliable instrument. I'm not saying the heat source is fake. I'm just
Yeah.
saying I'm not convinced it's a ghost. A good example, I think, of
Yeah.
how the brain just jumps immediately to finding patterns is when we first got images from Mars. We had an image that looked an awful lot like a face in the ground. It's like, oh gosh, there were aliens that made a stone carving in the shape of a face. It's clearly a face. We can all see it's a face.
Yeah, it
But
doesn't
then
mean it's real. It doesn't necessarily mean
well,
it's anything conspicuous behind it.
once we got better images of it, it was also clear it wasn't a face. It was
So
just the way the shadow was. It looked like a face to us, but once we got clearer imaging, it clearly wasn't a face. It was just a mountain.
So Dane, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen for all of you that are watching.
Yep.
Watching the podcast, you'll be able to see this as well. So I'm sharing this. This is an SLS rig. So you can see.
And that's all you get.
No, so you can see when it's what are we looking at? Here we go. So when it maps a person, you can see it colors them in. You can see the bone structure, things like that. And then when you get something like this, what's fair enough, you could argue that it's something behind it, like a dresser or something, and it's just picked it up.
Or they've just chucked a person there.
But I mean, how do you explain this though?
I'd also like to stress that they're using AI to map out what's human and what isn't. I can't imagine the Xbox had the cutting edge of the AI technology. So I wouldn't be surprised if they mistook inanimate objects.
I'll counter this by saying let's look at the Snapchat filter, right? The face swap filter, right? The other night I was on my phone, looked at a meme, and this guy was doing a face swap, and it picked someone up in the background and face swapped his face with that, right?
Yeah.
So this piece of technology, similar to the Kinect mic, has just decided, oh shit, there's a face back there, right? It's not actually a face, but the technology thinks it is.
Yeah.
And in reality, it's literally just because the pixels on the phone, or like the way the video is being recorded, has determined that the differences of light in these areas looks like a face.
But this isn't to do with light though. This is to do with thermal.
No, but it's the same concept of technology making something thinking something's a human being.
It's
when it's
basically
just
just predicting where the body parts would be, and then putting the
those parts. It's just seen something and gone, that's a human. I want to map this. This doesn't actually. It actually. Just because it's determined.
The AI has the basic figure of how to map a human. So when it picks up something that it thinks is a human, it probably tries to predict where its body parts are.
And then just displays it and goes, "Yep, that's a human. Map it. Start mapping it now."
Okay. Considering all that, but on top of other things, how can you say they're not ghosts aren't a thing?
Top of
what?
Well, no, ghosts are an unfalsifiable claim.
Hearing things.
Yeah, it's the same with the whole God debate. You can't disprove God. It's literally impossible because most people will say he lives in a separate dimension. You can't disprove a God. And ghosts are probably in the same category. That it's an unfalsifiable claim.
I think that's what I was saying earlier when Dog said, prove me that it's false. I can't reply with prove me that it's real. That's where I stand. I'm not necessarily looking at this saying, oh, this is why it's fake. I'm just saying, I need to see how I don't see how it's real is more the point.
But coming to that photo, it's real in my sense. I've experienced that,
and that's well within your experience. And you then after that experience, you believe that this. So to go back to the girl thing, you've seen her, so she's real. To you, she's real, right?
But to you guys, she may as well be fake.
Exactly, she may as well be fake. Because to me, there's no technical evidence that she was real. Right, because you could have just photoshopped her in there. I haven't, and when you're talking about something as tangible as something as ghost, something that can be easily, made up or fucked with, or just, generally photoshopped and whatnot. I can't take the word of a Kinect camera, right? I'm not going to take the word of a Kinect camera to say, yeah, this girl or this ghost is real.
So what would it take to prove ghost to you?
What would it take to prove ghost is real experiencing it, I suppose.
But what is it really?
Having a real, genuinely terrifying, like a ghost has just shoved something off the shelf, right? Because there's accounts as ghosts doing that, right? They have.
But that's what movies hype ghosts up to be, though.
But the point is that that is a thing that real life ghost hunters and stuff have experienced, right? So if it's for me to genuinely believe, I'd have to be sitting there, in a haunted house, just sitting anywhere. I could be anywhere, and all of a sudden, no wind or something, something super, something that shouldn't move just flies off the counter and hits the floor. Something
That's-
genuinely real that I could not explain.
Well, that
What about
that's what
like
that's what
hearing voices or something?
Oh, even hearing voices, no, because hearing voices could
You're
just
just
I could
schizophrenic.
just go to the doctor and they go, "Oh shit, you're schizophrenic, mate. Tough break." You know, it'd have to be. I mean, I suppose you could argue the same for things moving. But
For me, I think it comes down to the similar thing with God, in that if ghosts wanted to, if they wanted people to believe that ghosts were real, then they could very easily prove it.
yeah,
Like, they just have
Why
to do
would they,
crazy
though?
shit. Well, that's the thing. Do they want us to know that they're real, or do they not?
Well, by your definition, they don't, or they don't care because they would have made their presence known already.
Okay, so if they don't care, then why do they fuck around with individuals? Are they just... Well,
And then that
are
comes
they
down
just
to the
Australians
thing,
and
like-
like
Well, they're-
fucking with people?
Well, there's a theory that spirits, like for instance, if there's a house and there was a murder in it or someone died or whatever, there's a theory that that spirit is caught in a time loop in that same. So, for instance, if it happened at say 2 a.m. or 12 a.m. or something like that, there's a theory that that spirit will be caught in a time loop in that sort of
Yeah.
in that time. So when
See-
when you're there, it can only manifest during that time because that's when their spirit came into.
Like they're
Or-
trying to pass on, but they keep reliving it.
well, that's when
Yeah.
they died, essentially.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
for me, that comes back down to the repeatability, though. Because if they're in a time loop of the traumatic time, then you should be able to go there at that time and witness it.
Yeah.
And
at least-
because if it was
And it
repeatable, it
sh-
should
it
happen.
should be
statistically,
reliable, yeah.
It should statistically happen at least once every
So
second.
you should be able to go to
at the
that house
very
at that
least on
time.
the day of their death, they'd always come back. Like something even as minuscule as just one day a year where they were always there, being the day that they died.
Yeah.
Could it be enough to make me go, oh, well, maybe, like it give me maybe a bit of an interest in it.
Okay.
But
Well, actually, who's testing this repeatability? Is anyone?
probably not.
I'm
Like,
the
can-
thing.
when you see
I
those
would
ghost
assume
hunting-
that people have tried before. There's definitely ghost hunters that have tried to prove.
Don't reckon though.
But
They'll
how
do
many
their
how many
couple
ghost
nights
hunters
there.
you see like on TV and things like that? How many of them go back to the same place week after week?
Never. Yeah.
Well, if they
No,
were using the scientific method and were, trying to actually prove, factually, then that's what they would do. You'd go for repeatability.
Are they trying
Because,
to
because
prove that
if you
ghosts
can
are real?
repeat it, then you can capture it on
I'd
camera.
nearly
That's
say- I'd
what
nearly say
they're
the
always
least-
trying to do.
I'd only say the least reliable source of ghosts would be ghost hunters that post their shit on TV.
Oh no, 100%.
Like,
Oh,
of
yeah,
course,
no, that is-
of
that is
course they're
false.
faking it for the fucking camera. I'd honestly trust a random ass YouTube video more than fucking TV shows about ghost hunting.
But I mean, define random ass YouTube because there's a group or these two
Yeah, I
guys.
would not trust anyone with like a "do not call this person at 3 a.m."
Yeah, no, that's they're all.
So then who do you trust
Yeah.
then? If
Well,
I
it's
did
like
something,
I don't know. It's like the whole I don't know. Let's say like Bloody Mary, right? You go to a mirror, say Bloody Mary 3 times.
Yeah.
Statistically, that means every single time you say Bloody Mary in a mirror 3 times, she should pop up, right?
Yeah,
But
in
she never
theory.
does.
In theory, yeah.
And it's supposed to be this whole ghost story. I know and I guess it's more as well as the point of like don't trust TV shows about ghosts and shit is because it's been blown up by the entire idea of ghosts and ghost shows and stuff like that because they conceptualize the idea that if you do this, ghosts are gonna come, and they shove it down your throat like, oh, do all these things and you kids can come do it too, and in the reality of the situation, it just doesn't happen.
so
Like,
then
you know-
I come back to my question: who do you trust to give you this information?
I guess
I trust-
if a
I-
scientist
there's-
went and did it, I'd probably be a bit more.
There's a
Yeah,
couple of.
I don't think it
observers.
matters who did it. I think if you document it properly, it doesn't matter who does
There's,
it.
there's a couple of groups on
But you
YouTube
say
that I
that.
watch, like TFIL, TFIL and Sam and Colby. They both do that haunted stuff, and it's interesting because every place they go to, nothing's like ever the same. They never get the same evidence. Which, if you were going to do that for the clout and like try and get views because you're faking it, wouldn't you have similar experiences at every place and make everything like
I
a lot
disagree.
more scary than
I
the
think
next?
people would want to see
I think,
differences.
if you wanted it for clout, you want to do something new. Like anyone who's creating content, they always want new content, so their old
Keep upping
content
the
isn't getting
stakes.
stale. Yeah, they don't want things getting stale, so they're going to do new
But I mean,
things.
what I'm
It-
trying
it-
to say is that
Yeah,
every place they go to, it's not ramping up, getting worse and worse and worse. Some places they go to, they've had like barely anything and like hardly any experiences.
yeah.
Like,
And
Okay, actually.
I don't know. My TV cracks in the middle of the night and scares the shit out of me sometimes. It's the same way that what you could go, but some nights I wake up and it doesn't crack in the middle of the night. Same way if you go to a haunted house, like if you go to a supposed haunted house, some nights nothing's going to happen because nothing's going to happen. Whether it's differences in air temperature, so nothing creaks as much.
well,
There's a-
do you believe that every place appears to be haunted? Because that's one of my notes I had written down. The stereotype that only old places, like old buildings, are haunted.
Well, yeah, the idea of a haunted house, yeah.
But do you
I
think
mean,
that,
if
like,
ghosts
if you
were
look,
real, wouldn't they be everywhere?
well, that's what I'm saying. Wouldn't
Yeah.
you believe that? Fair enough, if it was an older building and something significant happened there, like a war or
Or
like,
a fire or some
or,
shit.
yeah,
and,
or
like,
something like that. Fair enough,
yeah,
but
back in the fire of '82 and 12 people died or something. Yeah.
in saying that, I watched a recent episode on Facebook or YouTube. It was of Ghost Adventures, like the one with Zach Bagans in it, and they're in the Hollywood Hills, doing some doing a ghost hunt in a celebrity's house. Like, it's not to say they're in a old castle in the middle of England. Like,
Yeah.
do you believe that only old
I
houses?
would. I think if ghosts, like, if there was evidence, like, they're not evidence, but like, if there was like, ghost stories revolving around more common areas, I think it'd add to the validity of what they were saying.
Yeah.
Because I think if ghosts were real, old mate, they got hit by a car down the road, surely, he could be a ghost, right?
Yeah, but then there's believers, believers believe that if like, for instance, if I was hit by a car tomorrow, I don't have to spend my time as a spirit where that accident occurred. I can be with a loved one, like, back in Victoria or whatever. Because you have that connection between each other.
I mean, I don't know much about that side of things in terms of ghosts.
oh yeah, I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to all this stuff. That's why I'm just asking questions and
Yeah.
trying to talk about the idea of what it would take to
Yeah.
make me believe and make me
Yeah.
think it's proven.
Yeah, because I don't necessarily have much evidence or know-how or even like just counterpoints to that ghosts don't exist, because I can't really say flat out, yeah, ghosts don't exist and here's why. I can't. I just
Well,
don't believe the evidence that supports it is tangible.
I think that's all it takes. Like, at the end of the day, if someone says ghosts are real, they're the ones making a claim. Whereas
Yeah.
I'm saying, well, I can't know ghosts aren't real because it's an unfalsifiable claim. But I just haven't seen anything that's convinced me they're real yet.
Yeah.
See, I want to bring it like an analogy to this.
Yep.
So, for example, if we could screen 1,000 people who might have an aneurysm, for example, screen them for it, they all might not have an aneurysm, but one person might.
Yeah.
It's like looking for a ghost. Like, you could screen 1,000 different houses and may find one.
Yes.
Some random person on the street might have an aneurysm, like someone might have an experience with a ghost. It's not predictable, and I think that's what makes it like supernatural.
Oh, but
and that's why
I don't know much about aneurysms, but you can. A lot about the medical profession is predictable, and that's why.
But an
But that's not
aneurysm
what
is not.
that's not what he's getting at, Dan.
Yeah.
You can screen 1,000 people for an aneurysm. You might pick up one, but someone on the street might just have one.
You're
Yeah,
saying
and-
it's the minority of chance.
Yeah, I'm not saying the ghost phenomenon is predictable, but I'm saying if it's going to be proven, then it has to be. We have to have some sort of predictive power, because otherwise,
Do we?
there's so many. Like, as I said before, I can't say, personal experience, because I know the mind gets fucked easily. I can't even say a group of people, because I also know we've got cases where groups have been group hysteria and all that stuff. So I think you have to do it scientifically, and I don't know if it's possible to do it scientifically. I'm just saying if you're going to prove it, that's the way it has to be done.
Is that the only way that you could, if that were to happen, is that the only way you could hands down, like, say, yes,
Well-
there is a supernatural world that does exist,
To be fair,
so-called
like
fourth
I'm saying
dimension.
all this, if a ghost came at me and either attacked me, talked to me, whatever, I would probably believe. But I'm just saying I wouldn't have a way of actually proving it to anyone.
But I mean, what would it take though? Because like, if you like for instance with me like that, seeing shadows and things like that you debunk as not your mind playing tricks on you. Is that enough
Yeah.
for you, or would your mind just think no, like it's just the lighting angle or something like that?
It has to be
Yeah.
something pretty severe for me to believe it. I think I
I'm
could
on
see,
the
'cause
same
I
track
see
with
I every now and will see like I thought I'll be laying in bed and I open my eyes like, oh fuck, there's something in the corner, but I know it's not. It's half the time it's probably just my fucking towel hanging up from its like hanger,
Yeah, and I'm
It's,
not trying to dismiss anyone's
No
experiences
experiences.
either.
No.
I'm just
I
saying,
believe
yeah.
I believe you experienced what you experienced. I just think there's a way to explain it. I don't take away from something actually believing in it. Because by all means, go for it. Make the claim that ghosts are real. It doesn't really hurt anyone.
And it makes really interesting stories as well.
Yeah.
Like I
Well,
was saying before the podcast started, even though I don't really believe in any of this, I really enjoy listening to ghost stories and different stories. about these things.
Everyone's told ghost stories. I've played. I'll take it into a gaming point of things. I play Phasmophobia. It's a very fun game.
I like that. It's good.
I run around. I get haunted by ghosts, and it's good fun. But I think for me to genuinely believe in ghosts, something like that would have to happen. Where I see something.
Yeah.
Like quite genuinely, I am looking at this thing, and it's standing there, and it's real.
There are ways that you can, like provoke things like that, but you have to be,
Like,
if you are a
increase your
believer,
chances.
you have to be very careful because, if you do believe in that stuff, you can attract the negative energies, and they can actually, cause a
And
lot
coming
of.
to that, we could even mention the Ouija board,
Yeah.
which
I mean,
I know a
I
couple of people have had personal experiences with that where they will never do that again, and because it's
I
opened
believe
them
in
up to
Ouija
such
boards.
bad experiences.
I
See,
believe in
I've
Ouija
heard about
boards.
that shit as well.
I
But
just think people moved the bloody board.
So
See-
would
see,
I
it's
just
interesting,
think
Chris.
I just think one bloke's just going, this is going to be a good laugh, and just start moving the board.
Yeah.
It's like
No, I
there's a
agree
video.
with Chris
There's a
here.
video of a dad who his
Oh,
daughter
yeah.
and a bunch of friends over, and they're playing with the Ouija board, right? And he's sitting there, and he goes to the main power box and just starts fucking flicking the lights like crazy.
I've
you
seen
know.
that video. Yeah.
So these guys are probably genuinely believing they've just summoned a demon, right? But there is an explanation behind it.
See, Chris, I 100% believe in Ouija boards, but I've never touched one.
Yeah,
I'd
me
touch a
too.
Ouija
Like
board.
I've
Yeah, I've
heard
never
of
touched one
experiences
either.
from people, and it put me off. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
Sounds like
I-
a good podcast idea.
I'd touch a
do
Ouija board because
next
We have a
I don't
Ouija
believe
board
it.
session.
I just don't
Leave
believe it.
it-
And I don't. But I don't want to do it the same way because I don't trust someone not to want to fuck with me. Like
No,
I know,
but-
I know my friends. I know you guys. One of you, probably me, is gonna move that fucking thing.
No, but
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like,
leave a like on the podcast if you want us to all come
Jump
together and
on
do
a
a Ouija
Ouija
board
board.
session. Yeah.
I would do a Ouija board session.
I
for the
would-
Ouija
I will
board to
do
actually
it.
scare me, it would take more than just a message. Because
I will-
Same.
people
I
are
will
gonna
do
fuck
it.
around with
I
it.
have like sworn to myself that I will never touch one of those fucking things, but I will do it if we like
for the
record it
content.
as a podcast.
And
or
so I think
something
that's
like
funny that me and Latchy here, we're the ones saying we don't want to touch them, and I think we're the ones that have had those experiences though.
Yeah, that's what's interesting
Yeah,
because when
yeah.
once you believe and you know what's out there and you know what the spiritual realm is capable
Repercussions.
of.
Yeah.
I think
You-
the
it just
Ouija board is
scares
just
me.
it's too convenient of a story.
It is
I
too
think.
convenient of a story to like.
Well,
Like-
this
like-
is why
like-
we need to do it. This is why we need to do it.
Okay, but
But see, I don't.
you
I'd
guys
have to
could
do
some
it.
homework though.
I'd have to do it
Like-
with. Honestly, if I wanted to do it though, I'd do it with Latch and
Yeah,
Dog.
there's
If
a
those
lot
two
of
are
rules
genuinely
though.
fucking scared of it, I know
See,
they're
the
going to be the
thing
motherfuckers
is,
that
yeah,
don't do it.
Is that people can trick themselves into believing things are real when they're not. So they could fake something and then just start believing that it really happened. And it's that kind of stuff has happened many times.
Well, even
Like,
that's a
real.
good point actually, because even like
Yeah.
trauma coping mechanisms often make
Yeah.
you believe things that aren't real.
Well, yeah, a
Um,
lot of cults work that way as well.
Yeah, and like,
I just wanted you guys to do some homework. Look up the history of the Ouija board.
Yeah, it's
but I can look up the
couldn't
history of
tell
the
you
Ouija
firsthand.
board, but it doesn't mean I don't think it's bullshit.
I mean, I
Like,
watched one movie. I think it was a French-made movie because I think it was in French. It was about a girl who did the Ouija board with a bunch of friends.
I'm trying to. Is
And
it Veronica? Is that?
It's Veronica. It's based
Yeah.
on a real story as
Yeah.
well.
I've seen that.
And yeah, like even that didn't make me think it was real. I think she just went crazy after it. She just had a mental breakdown over things.
I think.
I mean,
that-
it's very possible that it was real. I'm not saying it's not
Yeah.
because honestly, I am the kind of person who would definitely believe in ghosts and that kind of stuff. I just think the Ouija board is too convenient for people.
it is so convenient of a way to just mess with someone. Like,
let's do it then.
I
But so
know.
why are you straight jumping to someone messing with someone? Like,
Yeah.
why can't it be real? Why is that your initial thought?
Because that's how people work. It's how I you know, if
The way I
if-
say that
if
is
I
because
was,
the
you know,
Ouija
doing
board
it-
is like the one easy way for somebody to fake an interaction with a ghost.
Yeah.
Really.
But they don't
But
always work though.
What do we
That's the
gain out of
thing.
that?
They don't
I don't know
always
it's
work.
work. Like, I don't know. You don't always actually get a response. But like, personally, I think any response anyone's ever got from a Ouija board is just someone, you know, one of their mates has gone, I want to move it and say something personal I know about my friend.
And I mean, if
But see,
that's
at that stage, you
if
can't really be
that's-
proven if that's your outlook on ghosts. Anything that happens, you say, that guy's messing with me.
Not necessarily. I mean,
Because the only thing it's going to take is like a visual cue.
in terms of a Ouija board, I would never believe a Ouija board. I just don't think it's real. I'm fully inclined
what
to
about
sit down with a Ouija board with people who genuinely believe and say, right, let's go for it. Because if no one genuinely believes, they're going to, you know, probably not be the kind of person that fucks with it.
Okay,
so
well,
there's
what if a
another
Ouija
way
board
you
was-
can pretty well, or not definitively prove ghosts are real, but it's called sensitive, or what's it called? Your senses, like your ears and eyes and shit. What's that called? It's like a deprivation.
Sensory
like you put-
deprivation.
Yeah,
Sensory
sensory
deprivation.
deprivation ghost box
That's
session.
generally
No,
revolved
but-
around your brain playing brain
Yeah,
playing tricks.
Yeah,
sensory
so I've got a
deprivation, your
background
brain's
there.
always going to fuck with you.
Yeah,
No,
sensory
no,
deprivation.
Here's the
is-
thing. Here's the thing.
But
So
it's-
that ghost box, I don't know if you guys know how it works, but I'll explain it real quick. So what it does, it's a type of it's a device, and it scans through all of the different radio stations, all the way from like 1 megahertz
Yeah.
to fucking 20,000 or whatever, and it scans through them really quickly. And it's believed that when spirits wanna say something, they can channel the word through radio stations, and this device will pick it up.
Yeah,
So
I've seen that done before.
when you put noise cancelling headphones on and a blindfold on, so you're only listening to this device, and then, you know, people in a different room, they will, you know, ask questions, and so the person with the headphones on can't hear a thing that they're saying. And I've seen it in many videos. Like they'll ask a question, and the person with the headphones on will answer it straight away and accurately. It's like, well, how do you explain that?
And I guess the goal of that procedure is to enhance your ability to just listen.
Yeah.
I'd have to do it.
See, yeah, that's
Because
not
I
what
think-
I thought when I thought sensory deprivation.
Yeah, I
but,
think
There's a
in that
lot of ways you
scenario,
could still fuck with that.
It is. There's too many ways. There's
But
too
see,
many
that's the first thing
variables.
you
There's
jump
way
to,
too many
like-
variables.
So if you heard something on that
Because
radio,
I think that's going to what Dan was saying, like, you know, like doing a proper scientific method of moving through it, right? Proper scientific method is all about
You-
getting rid of your variables
yeah,
and
you
then
want one
doing
variable.
the test
That's it.
again, doing one variable at a time and seeing the results. And with all of these devices, it's impossible to keep it down to a single, less than 20 variables. There's too many ways of someone messing it up. Too many ways of something going wrong or something just not
how
working
could someone
properly.
mess up that? is
A
my
good
question.
example I heard recently was gravity. So, you know, we all know now that if you drop two items of different weights, they're going to drop at the same speed no matter what.
Mhm.
But if when you first tested that, you dropped an apple with a feather, the apple's going to drop a lot faster. That's not because gravity's different depending on weight. That's because a feather will have a lot air resistance is going to affect it a lot more. So if you're going to test gravity, you want two items of the same surface area of different weights. And then you can test whether one's going to drop faster than
Because
the
you
other.
can cancel out variables.
Yes, you only want
Well,
one variable that you're testing.
Like, even with what
Oh.
Latch said, there's variables even involved in that, whether it's just purely spoofed and faked, or compared to just they didn't put the headphones on properly and you could still hear, even just something as simple as
So real
it's
quick-
just a complete hoax in general.
Real quick, sorry, Chris. I'm just looking. You can buy a spirit box for $120. Just in
I
case.
mean, I'm
you
not
want one.
buying a spirit box.
Then who's the winner there? It's capitalism.
Yeah. I just think that even that's just it's just too many different variables revolved
I
around the
disagree.
whole
I
idea
don't
of
think
it.
there's many variables involved in that at all. There's maybe the few, but if you can get consistent, if you're getting the same thing over and over, like an answer to the question,
So
a
right,
question
so
you don't know has been answered, like
think-
the
I
whole
think
the
what
whole
we're
thing
getting
was
at
right. The
here-
whole thing was so the people in the room ask a question, right?
Yep.
And so the person with the headphones on,
They can't
they
hear anything.
hear the answer or they speak the answer.
They hear the answer from they hear the speaker because there's a speaker on the box and you can plug a headphone in.
Yeah.
And so all you can
they're
hear is
saying,
just
let's
like
say,
static of it running through the when you
and someone will say, "Oh,
and then
how old are you?" And also in your ears, you'll only hear 82.
yeah, and then a
Yeah.
voice will come through like on the radio and it might say like 16 and then it'll go back to static and it'll when you
Yeah.
go through the radio stations on your car and it's just static.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Oh, I've seen that done before.
Well, so here's a variable with that.
videos.
It's just it's cycling through and through quick. It was just some truckie was saying a message to someone.
What
They
is the
just happened
difference
to
between
coincide.
the spirit box though and just a normal walkie-talkie though? There's
Yeah.
no difference.
Um,
You just
range of
buy a
No,
normal
frequencies.
walkie-talkie.
it's the way technical specs.
it's the range, isn't it?
Yeah. Let me have a look.
Like,
Like,
because
I'm
radios
intrigued.
work on so many frequencies.
I'm intrigued,
but
and I'm willing to put myself in a situation where I do all of these things.
Yeah, same.
I would
and-
tell
and-
you
and-
not to, but
Why though?
Well,
like
I'm
it's
just
because-
curious.
because okay, going back to a Ouija board, for example, 'cause
Yeah.
that's been what they associate with just introducing really negative forces or demons as such into your life.
yeah.
That can ruin things for you mentally, emotionally, personally.
Yes,
Okay, but
then-
what's stopping them doing that
I'll just-
before you?
But no,
came
see,
into
because if
contact
you
with
believe
them,
that,
there's
well, I'll
nothing.
propose this to you then. Do you believe in healing crystals, dog?
What do you mean by healing crystals?
As
is my
in
question.
crystals that can heal your aura, dream catches, those sort of things, right?
Yeah, I'd to a degree, yes.
Right. So if we believe all this is true, right? Because they go hand in hand, I think.
Yeah, they're
Right? I think if you
Part of
believe
the
in
same
ghosts and
thing,
believe in
that's
negative
right,
energies,
but-
you believe that it can be healed by positive
Mm.
energies, right?
yeah.
So what's to go from just everyone buying these healing rocks and all of a sudden ghosts don't exist anymore? Like it's if we're inviting all these negative energies, like just get rid of them. Like if it's that easy to invite them in, and everyone says all these mystics say it's so easy to buy a crystal heals your aura. Like where's I don't
It's
see
all well and
much.
good until you get AIDS, as for example.
I know.
Oh, gee whiz.
I know that's
The
a
ghost
joke.
gave me
I-
AIDS.
I know that's a joke, and like I'm gonna buy it anyway, full well I know it's a joke. It's just not gonna happen. To me, I don't
Why do you
believe.
say that?
Because
Next time you have unprotected sex, you could have AIDS. Really?
But I could have AIDS in no matter what, whether I talk to a ghost or not. That's just simple. That's just simple bad luck, or
Yeah.
just simple luck in general, or just
Oh no, I'm
you
not
know-
meaning the ghost has AIDS. I mean that it could just happen.
yeah, I know, yeah, but like, but
I
you're
didn't actually
saying
mean
like
that as a
you know,
joke.
you're saying if I talk to a ghost, right, my bad luck's gonna get worse. Like I'm gonna have bad luck.
No,
right?
I'm not saying that. I'm sorry. I'm using an analogy. Like you say, you can get rid of the ghost with healing rocks. Maybe you can't. Maybe it's AIDS.
But-
You
I'm
could
just
maybe-
saying the
But
whole,
so,
the whole,
so
the
what's
whole
going to happen to me
basis-
then? Like you say, I'm going to invite bad energies. What's actually going to happen to me? What realistic thing is going to happen to me because I fucked with a Ouija board?
If
I
you
honestly
honestly
wouldn't wanna
think it
speculate
makes.
on it, but-
I honestly think the basis of having to come in contact with it before it can affect you is just stupid in my opinion. If it was really a negative force, it would fuck with you no matter what.
But there's
Would it?
these theories that like negative energies don't have like because there's a theory
They're
that
not allowed in your life until you
if you
allow
don't give it attention, then it can't like manifest properly. So,
So
for
it's
instance,
like kind of like
it
So
feeds
you're
off
saying
of
that
fear.
I'll never.
So
Does that-
if you never seen it, you never show any attention to it, then it's not going to feed off your fear, so it can't have enough
That just
energy
seems
to
like
do something bigger.
that just seems like a way to get around the fact that most people haven't seen them. It just seems like a convenient way to explain
Well,
explain it.
okay.
So-
depends on what you believe.
Essentially, what
If
you're
you
saying
lost-
is because I have a genuine disbelief, it'll never happen to me.
It's possible.
No, it's more the fact that when you do it, it could happen. It could open that gate. It could open that avenue and cause those bad things to happen. And then,
But what
by
bad
the time
things are we talking about?
It's
it could be
anything
anything.
from physical to psychological trauma.
you could be
Like,
having the same nightmare over and over again. How can you
you
explain?
could be
that?
having
I
like,
used to have nightmares over and over again when I was a kid.
you could be having sleep
same-
paralysis. We talk about that in the last
I've had a
podcast. Go and check
dream.
it out.
I've had recurring dreams. You know, it's just something that happens. I think.
Possible.
But is it?
Yeah,
I haven't actually ever had recurring dreams. Does it just happen?
I've had recurring dreams. I used to be able to change the channel of my dreams.
That's cool.
No, even unironically, like it's a thing.
Yeah.
It is a thing. Like when I was a kid, even up until like even now, occasionally I can do it. I'll be
I guess-
dreaming and I'll alter my dream. Like something bad happens to my dream. I go, oh no, rewrite the script here, back it up. This
That's
is what-
lucid dreaming though.
Yeah, lucid dreaming. Yeah,
Yeah, I got a story about dreams after you're done with this.
yeah.
yeah.
Ooh.
I just
Lucid
I feel
dreaming
like,
is a really cool topic. I think.
yeah. I just feel like, the only negative energies I suppose could come from this is that your brain has a negative association that night because you thought about ghosts all day.
But
You
it's
know,
not
I-
that night.
But I always dream about things that happen, even things that happened a month or two ago. They still are things that happened to me. So I I had a dream about ghosts the other night because of phasmophobia, right? And that's just how it happened. It wasn't because of anything. It was just because that's what I did.
It's-
So if
I It's
had-
just part of your subconscious.
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
you know?
like, I mean, I'm willing to do all this stuff. All the warning labels are there, whatever. I'm willing to put myself in the line of fire for science here.
Let's do it.
I'll invite this negative energy bullshit with a Ouija board, and I believe nothing will happen to me. If something bad happens, well, I guess fuck.
Well,
Um,
this will be interesting. So let's do it in the future. Let's all
Can
get
you do a
together.
Ouija board by yourself?
You can, but it's
Yes,
not
you
a good
can.
idea.
I would highly do not do that. Like straight up.
Yeah, that's a thing. There's a lot of rules to do with a Ouija board. If you believe in that stuff, there's a lot of rules. And if you don't do it properly, then you can seriously, if it does work, you can attract very bad things.
And
So
since
anyway,
we're
we
alone,
are
it's-
starting to run out of time, but Nev, we'll get to your story about the dreaming. Do you want to hit us up?
It's just that bit about recurring dreams. Yeah, I often get them quite a lot, but there was this dream I had a week ago. I did, where I was just driving on the highway for some reason, and I was practically tailed for no reason, and I just thought, okay, I'll slow down, but I didn't, and surprise, surprise, I hit them. I rear-ended them, and we had to pull over. And I'm just thinking, oh fuck, I can't afford this now. What do I do? My brain was like, don't worry, I'll get us out of this. And then I woke up.
That's the
Is that a
way.
recurring dream?
I'm bailing.
Screw this shit.
It's like-
Time to go back to my
it's
real
kinda
life.
like- It's kind of like death is an answer to some dreams, though. Like you just commit suicide in dreams to wake up.
I've never
Or
committed
is that just
suicide in
me?
dreams. I've been killed
I-
multiple times.
Is that
but
what you
never
do in
suicide.
real life too?
I don't know if I've
Ooh.
even died in a dream.
I've died in dreams, but I don't.
Famous.
I think I've died in dreams. I don't.
I know
Yeah,
I've had friends die in dreams.
I've
Have you killed yourself in a dream, though?
I have
I
not
think
killed
for,
myself.
hang on. I think for
I've
me, like
accidentally
I'm just at
killed
that.
a friend in a dream.
So I think I'm at that point where I'm just on the verge of dying, and then I wake up.
That's interesting. Very interesting.
No, your dreams are very interesting.
Especially if you
Especially when
use-
you have those ones where you wake up and it was so realistic, you start to doubt whether it was actually a dream or if it happened.
Yeah, I hate those ones. You're like full content. You're like, okay, I am me. This is where I live. This is my life. Like,
And then just piss all over the bed.
Yeah, like I had a dream back in primary school that I still remember vividly. It was during obviously primary school, and it was we were at the swimming pool. What are you laughing at?
Oh shit. Nah, nothing. Come on.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we were at the swimming pool for like a class, and I did like a bomb into the pool, but I fucking landed on top of Chris, and he ended up drowning.
Pog.
And I remember the dream ended with me going to sleep at home, and then obviously I woke up for real, and I was like, "Oh my lord, what have I done?" I just remember
Killed him.
the whole way, because I was walking to school at this stage, which is like a 2-3 kilometer walk, and I just remember the whole walk. I was like, "Oh my fucking god, how am I gonna like face everybody?" and then I saw Chris was like, "Oh, it must have just been a dream." Either that or some fucking miracles happened.
So I think that is just about going to do it. It's been 50 minutes or 51 minutes now of talking.
Yeah,
Thank you everyone for coming back on the podcast.
that's been
That's
good.
alright.
No
It's
worries.
been good.
No.
For everyone that has made it this far, if you want to check out episode 3, we talk about some more paranormal stuff and some more cool stuff. Check that out. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Yeah, leave a follow and a like on the page if you haven't already. Keep up to date with all future podcasts. Thanks guys. Goodbye.